You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio. Welcome back. Michael Hickman, Seven Gables, welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. Now, I think that this is every day, but I don't know why they put it on the calendar for today. National Goof Off Day. I do that all the time. I don't know what the problem is. We just have to celebrate that today? And having beaten anorexia, National Bavarian Crepes Day. And if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're looking at some crepes here. The only thing they're missing, I mean, they've got that Nutella sauce on there. Where's the whipped cream? I'm just... you got to get the whipped cream on there, guys. It's but you know we'll take the crepes. Well, where do you go get good crepes anymore? I don't put it in the chat if you've got a good spot for crepes. Put that in the chat so I know where I've got to go to lunch. Take a look at the markets today. They're sleeping. Of course, they're sleeping right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 29 points. The S&P's up a little bit under 1 point. The Nasdaq is up 21 points. Oil is up 58 cents a barrel. The 10-year Treasury is down just a couple of ticks. Why is it a boring morning? Because it's going to be an eventful afternoon. Well, they got the Federal Reserve. Yes, Jerome Powell is going to come out and chat. The issue is, first off, at about 11 o'clock California time, we're going to get their prepared statement. And they're going to probably tell us that interest rates, that they're going to raise rates another 25 basis points, going up to 5% on the Fed funds rate, which is higher than the other central banks around the world. Odd that our bank would be higher than the ones around the world, but I digress. Think about this, though. If you are one of those folks that has a home equity line of credit, and I'm not against those, but you have to understand them. So generally, you're going to see the prime rate is about 3% above the Fed funds discount rate. So if we go at a 5% Fed funds rate, add 3, even me, simple math, that comes out to about 8% on prime. And you're going to add anywhere from 1 to 3% on top of that for a home equity line of credit. So you may be high 10s, maybe 11 in some instances on the home equity line of credit. But the more important part is it's increasing. It is an adjustable loan. Watch out for those right now because you don't know how high they're going to go with this, especially as the Federal Reserve keeps watching the rearview mirror. They're not watching what's happening today, and they have no clue about what's going on for tomorrow. Now, I'm going to say that finally the Federal Reserve, they made this comment last year, and it caused a lot. Actually, it was the year before last, 2021. They made a comment, and they were so far off that it is the cause of the problems we're in today. If you remember 2021, Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve, we were all getting into the area of high inflation. And what did the Fed say about inflation at that time? It's transitory was their word. Do you remember the word? It's transitory.
Such an idiot.
Yeah, that's all that they kept telling us is that it's transitory. Well, they're right, but they were 2 years off. Right now, it's transitory, right? We already know because it's baked into the formulas already that the inflation is coming down. If the Federal Reserve was looking at what they should be looking at, the future instead of the past, or maybe even the present, they would know that inflation is at about 3.3% right now. But they're not going to tell us that. We've shown you where those numbers come from. If you're part of the real estate community, we talk about that at the Anaheim Hills Caravan. We go into it deep. And we just came out with a new report yesterday that shows why the banking system is in the shape that it's in. It's all because of the Federal Reserve and them not keeping their eye on the ball. What are you talking about? Well, if you look at their statements as of February of 2023, when they do the bank stress tests, they're saying that the Fed funds discount rate should be a little bit under 1%. It was already well over 1%. So when the regulators go in and do these checks, they're not getting accurate data because they're comparing it to something that's false. Think about these things. And then you get the Treasury. Janet Yellen's Secretary of Treasury, the Treasury Department meetings. Have you looked at the notes of those? Well, of course you haven't, because that's not what you do. Somebody's supposed to be doing this, though. It's generally been the media. You know what the Treasury Department was working on in February of this year before the banks started failing? Look at their meeting notes. Climate change. The Treasury Department. Now, we've got the EPA, we've got the Homeland Security, we've got every other agency out there. The Treasury Department is worrying about climate change while the banks are failing and people are potentially losing their money. Think about these issues. So do we need more regulation? No. Maybe we need to get rid of the village people acting as the cabinet for the president. Think about that concept. We need to get them doing their jobs instead of doing something. I mean, if we really think about it, we were all told that Al Gore told us that the world was going to end in 10 years. He said that in 2009. Wonder why he didn't tell us about a pandemic. He was only talking about climate change. But that was while he was on his plane, so it doesn't matter. His private plane, talking about climate change and all these other environmental issues. Just throw that out there. But that's basically the reason the markets are so flat right now. 11 o'clock, the fireworks start. 11:30, they will intensify. And we'll probably see the grand finale sometime around noon our time, maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock our time. Basically what that is we get the Federal Reserve announces what their intentions are. The Federal Reserve mole, yes, I said it, the mole, because he gets all this information ahead of anybody, is Mr. Timmeros at the Wall Street Journal. He basically said the Federal Reserve could increase, or maybe they'll wait. What does that tell you? Absolutely nothing. So we didn't get any good insight from him this time. He usually has the inside scoop. So we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but the market really believes 25 basis points increase, and the fireworks start when he takes his comments and questions starting 11:30. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, reasons to consider condos in your home search. Is solar all it's cracked up to be? We're going to talk about that. And On the Town, brought to you by Visit Anaheim. We've got that segment today as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs, the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990. Business owners, if you don't have, maybe you write off everything you're allowed to write off and your income tax doesn't quite show what you can really afford. Well, there's programs for you. Geneva's got them, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, and timely interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions. No, they don't report their APRs. No, they don't tell us how many points were paid or received to get these rates. These are just the raw locked data. 30-year conforming was up yesterday, 6.538. Jumbos were up yesterday, 6.653. FHA was up yesterday. I see a pattern here. up yesterday, 6.433. USDA was up yesterday, 6.43. That's for the rural areas, generally no down payment. And the best loan on the market, again, it was up. 30-year VA loan, 6.172. And let's take a look and see what's going on right now with the markets. That was yesterday's data. As of today, we're seeing the S&P 500 is up 1.42. 10-year treasuries are down just a touch, down 2 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities are down 9 basis points. Remember, the bond, when it goes down, that means rates are going up. It's a teeter-totter. It always works that way. It's a mathematic function. So as I shared with you in the opening segment, futures are showing an 86% chance that the Federal Reserve will increase by 25 basis points. We'll see about that. Both former Dallas Fed President Kaplan and former Boston Fed President Rosengren said they would support a pause to see what the fallout will truly be from the banking crisis. Again, the Fed's still worried about inflation. That's really not there. So we're watching to see what they have to say. The Fed may realize this, which is why they have certainly started closely to track the super core, which strips out food, energy, and shelter costs. Think about that one. Shelter costs, 43% of the CPI is shelter costs. So just watching what they're up to. Looking at the last 3 months, the annual run rate is 2.1%. Additionally, producer prices have been coming down sharply, and the run rate on those are at 2.1% as well. Fed should pause. They might even be beneficial to cut rates, but they don't listen to this little radio show here in Southern California. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So if you are a regular listener, watcher, follower of Ron Siegel Radio, you probably remembered Michael Hickman was on a few weeks ago. And after the broadcast, we were chatting about some of the various issues going on, because he's one of the smart guys that comes in to visit us. And, I'm really good at listening. So he's dealing with some, I guess the best thing is headaches that come up in real estate transactions, or challenges.
Sure, challenges. That's a good way to put it.
Challenges. Yeah. And one of them that he and I got to chatting about after and during the breaks was solar. So Michael Hickman, Seven Gables, is with us. We're going to chat a little bit about solar, and everybody talks about it. It's just a blanket statement, Michael, that it's a great thing and everybody should be doing it.
Right, and I think for the right people, I have solar.
Okay.
I have solar in my house, and in the right situation, in the right house, and how much energy you're using, sure, it can certainly be beneficial.
And something that kind of goes with almost everything. I've talked about this many times, that even loan programs, and I was in the industry way back when with the fallout. And yes, I did promote the pick-a-pay loan because it was good for the right person.
Right.
It wasn't good for everybody.
Right.
And that's the issue, is sometimes you get bad applications of a great product.
Right. And sometimes people are making uninformed decisions, I guess is a way to put it, right?
Yeah.
You're walking through Home Depot, or you get the knock on the door, and they start trying to,
walking out of Costco.
Exactly. And not necessarily knowing the product, as you kind of already stated. So.
If they don't know the product, they don't know your situation.
Right.
Because you might be a single senior citizen sitting in a condo or maybe it's your 5-bedroom house that you haven't moved out of.
Right.
But you're probably not going through a huge amount of electricity in that property.
That's exactly. That's my in-laws. They live in a 4,000 square foot home in Fallbrook, and they're not going through the same energy that my 4-person family is going through. Right?
Or maybe that they went through 20 years ago.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So the issue becomes that it's not a blanket. It's not one size fits all. You really have to look at it, each individual and see what that means. But how does being that this is your world?
Yeah.
Realtors come into a situation and they're charged with sharing the information.
Right.
And my guess is, because I would say that this fits me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not an expert in solar. I'm not an expert in electricity usage.
Correct. Yep.
And how do you guide somebody that way?
So I think, let's talk maybe about the list side first.
Okay.
Just because that's where initially is going to come up, right? Is as we're taking the listing, what we advise our agents to do is be asking these questions. I mean, we are supposed to be asking some of those questions that are in our listing contract, right? And there's a paragraph in our listing contract that talks about that. So let's get that information early. That's the best advice on the listing side. Get your prelim early to see if there's any UCC1 recorded
Okay,
against the property.
you're getting technical on us,
Yeah.
Michael. Prelim is what?
Preliminary title report.
Okay, preliminary title report.
Right. And then your UCC1 fixture filing, which often, if there's solar panels, because that's personal property,
Okay.
it's going to get recorded against the property, right? And that's going to have to get lifted or released and re-recorded when you close for
Okay.
the lender, right?
Right.
So as you start doing some of those investigatory discovery questions, right? You're going to get to know all this stuff up front, right? Do they have solar, and then the next question is, what type of agreement do they have? Do they own it? Is it leased? Is it a power purchase agreement? Those are the three that I'm most commonly seeing in transactions right now. If they own the unit and they've purchased it outright or they financed it, have they leased the system so they don't own it? They're paying regular lease payments, or are they just simply purchasing the power and they don't own the unit and it's not a lease? They're just paying for the power that's being produced by the system.
Now, most solar companies, when they come out, the salespeople are going to be giving us the context that it's going to add value to your property, and they'll probably use the word "it always adds value."
Correct.
I won't use that word because I don't know that anything fits into the category of always.
Right. And you probably know this better than I, but unless you own it outright, it's not going to be taken into account for the appraisal, right? A leased unit or one that's operating under a power purchase agreement is not going to bring true value as far as appraisals go.
Now, on your perspective, because talk a little bit about your role with the company first.
So I'm our in-house attorney. So
Okay.
I've been with the company for about 4.5 years.
Not giving legal advice on Ron Siegel Radio.
Not giving legal advice. So I'm our in-house attorney, and then I'm our general manager. So I see both sides. I get a lot of questions from agents, a lot of just, hey, want to confirm that I'm kind of heading in the right direction or I'm asking the right questions sort of things. And then because I'm still a manager, I'm guiding them in their business development as well. So I see both sides.
So you're seeing one of the things that you get to see that many of us don't is when there's I wouldn't say conflict, but when there's a
friction point.
That's a better term.
Yeah.
Friction point. You get to deal with that.
Yeah. I probably will touch base with agents on, I'm going to guess 300 to 500 sides a year.
Wow.
So a lot. I see a lot. Yeah. It's so unfortunate. What I think what it allows me to do is funnel that back down to our group, because I get to talk to a lot of our agents. They have direct access to me. So.
And that was one of the beauties of having you come on with us today, was the idea that you can share some of these friction areas.
Right.
And, one of the things that you're doing, obviously, because of your position in the company, is you're able to go out, you're educating your agents.
Correct. Yeah.
So you understand when you, and this is another one of those comments that I make that the realtors don't make. When you're dealing with your best friend's dog walker's brother's mother, who did a transaction in 1995, but still has a real estate license, they may not be up to date on everything that's going on and may not have, all the practical experience of what's happening in the marketplace. That's why I believe that the barrier to entry into real estate should be significantly higher than it is today, so that you get the professional out there. I mean, you don't want to go to a cardiac surgeon and say, I just went through my first class of med school, undergrad, and I'm going to operate on your heart right now. Right? That's not the way it works. Well, this is your largest purchase in most cases.
Right.
This is your largest financial transaction.
That's correct. Yeah.
And you need somebody that's going through some of this education that you're sharing.
Right. Yeah. 100%. We have the conversation all the time with our group. Yeah.
Yeah. So and solar, 6-7 years ago, maybe less, I didn't understand everything. I still don't understand everything there is to solar, but there was a very great program, I thought, that was the HERO program. And, there were some, again, bad applications for a very good product. And we're seeing now some of the consequences of that.
Correct.
And I want to chat with you because there's probably some of those programs, some of those folks that did the Hero loan or the Hero Solar, whatever they want to call it, or on energy upgrades.
Yeah.
How do we sell that house? We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to also chat a little bit. We've got our friends from Visit Anaheim have some events for us for this weekend and reasons to consider condos in your home search. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection. Ron Siegel Radio.
Reference and the divorce decree
Your
cost
home
tens
and
of thousands of dollars.
mortgage
A certified divorce
connection.
mortgage planning and real estate report could
you know
save
a
you
homeowner
thousands of dollars,
experiencing
and it's
divorce?
free from your
You know
local
a real estate
certified
reference
divorce
and the
lending
divorce
professional.
decree could
Reach
cost
out to
tens of
Ron
thousands of
today.
dollars.
Ron is
A
my
certified divorce
lender.com.
mortgage planning
Again,
and real
Ron
estate
is my
report
lender.com.
could save you thousands of
License
dollars,
number
and it's free
NMLS
from your local certified divorce
217037,
lending
Equal
professional.
Housing Lender.
Reach out to Ron today. Ron is my lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home,
Again,
and need
Ron
money?
is
The
my
Siegel Lending Team is
lender.com.
here to help veterans
License number
refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. Refinance your mortgages, consolidate.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. Refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start. Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed
Are you like
program
many of your
that
neighbors
show you
trying
how
to
to
figure out
eliminate
how to
all
pay
of
off your
debts
debt
so
in
you
10
can
years or
retire
less?
someday? All without
bigger
having to spend
savings.
more each month
Invest in
than you
opportunities.
spend right now.
Visit
rsrnodebt.com. All without spending
Debt will
more from your
destroy
checkbook
50%
each
of
month
Americans
than you
from
are
being
today.
able to retire
Get your
earlier
free
and
analysis
with more.
today to see if you
What if you could
qualify.
have a guaranteed
Visit
program that could show you how to
rsrnodebt.com.
eliminate all
Log
of
on
your debt
today for
in
your
10
free
years or
analysis.
less. All without having to spend more
rsrnodebt.com.
each month
No
than you
purchase
spend right
necessary.
now.
The free
Yes,
analysis
that's
takes
correct.
only 2
All
minutes.
without spending more from your checkbook each
rsrnodebt.com.
month than you
Ron
are
Siegel
today.
Radio is your
Get
home
your
and
free
mortgage
analysis
connection.
today to see if
Go
you
to
qualify. Visit
rsrnodebt.com.
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 Log on today for your free analysis.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Every week we have a great segment from our friends at Visit Anaheim. I love this segment because it makes life easy for me. The Visit Anaheim sends us a major event of the week, a romantic event of the week, and a family event of the week. So what are they for the week coming up? Spring Break Market at the Garden Walk. Celebrate Spring Break in Anaheim. Creators of Market OC and the STC Garden Walk proudly present the Spring Break Weekend Market happening from Friday, March 31st to Sunday, April 2nd. Take selfies at the Spring Photo Booth, listen to live music while you get your face painted, or check out the Kids Craft Table. Enjoy live music and delicious food all weekend long in Anaheim. Everyone is invited, free, family and pet-friendly event. For more information, go to eventbrite.com. The romantic event of the week. Trivia night at Broken Timbers Brewing. Are you looking for a fun weeknight date in Anaheim? Trivia night at Broken Timbers Brewing Company has you covered on Thursday, March 30th from 7 to 9 p.m. Grab a drink and put your knowledge to the test. Trivia is free to play with prizes for first, second, and third place. Good luck. Check out the details on eventbrite.com. I'm not very good at trivia, so I might have problems here. Family event of the week. It's an Easter extravaganza at Brewery X. Easter's coming early at Brewery X's Easter extravaganza. This family-friendly and pet-friendly event is happening on Sunday, April 2nd, 11 to 5 p.m. Sip on craft beer, snag a quick bite to eat, then head outside and enjoy an Easter artisan market. Take pictures at the photo booth. Participate in a scavenger hunt and shop from local vendors. There will also be an Easter egg hunt spectacular available for purchase that includes the Easter egg hunt, a mini canvas paint kit, and face paint. Tickets for one child is only $30 or two children, $59. For tickets and information, go to eventbrite.com for that one as well. Again, that is a Easter extravaganza at Brewery X. That is the Visit Anaheim segment. It's on the town by Visit Anaheim. So now you've got some things to do next weekend. Hopefully it won't be raining. You'll be able to get out and enjoy some sunshine. But again, thanks to our friends over at Visit Anaheim. Continuing our conversation, Michael Hickman, Seven Gables, is with us. We're sharing stories and issues that you need to be careful of or be aware of. I would say, but careful might not be the right word, but it's education. How can you make an educated decision if you don't get educated? And since 2010, that's been our mission at Ron Siegel Radio, is to educate you, not selling stuff here on this program. So before the break, we were talking about the HERO program, and I don't know if there's a huge amount of folks out there. They were doing a huge push on it, about 10 years ago. Do you see a lot of the HERO programs coming through?
I'm not seeing a lot. I've seen a handful, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, it's just one of those items. Now you made the catch on this one, or the area to be aware of is to
right. So with a HERO or a PACE loan, it gets assessed with your property taxes. So in the industry, we're pretty used to as real estate agents, when we, on the buy side, for example, we're going to review the preliminary title report just to see if there's any exceptions, easements, et cetera. And so we're used to identifying those items, and then we see the deeds of trust or the loans on the property. Well, this is a part of the property taxes, typically on the preliminary title report. So sometimes we can miss it, and we're not seeing that extra lien or loan against the property.
Sure.
And a lender is going to require that it typically get paid off. So it's usually not an issue. But if it's an all cash deal, it's possible that it doesn't get paid off at closing and just gets prorated as part of the normal proration of property taxes. So we've had that issue come up where buyer takes possession and their property taxes are a little higher than they were anticipating because they're still paying on this HERO or PACE loan.
That's one of the benefits that the agents at Seven Gables have with you, is that you're sharing. You see these things.
Right.
How many agents are there at Seven Gables?
About 450 right now.
So you look at 450 agents, and say 2/3 of them, doing transactions at any given time.
Right.
So you're going to be seeing a lot of transactions coming across.
Right. And then we were talking before the show that I do a class a couple times a month on forms, which is all this stuff, but it's not we're going to read the entire form sort of class. It's, hey,
right.
how do we avoid these sorts of issues sort of class? So
we talked about the three different types of solar, and
right.
I'm guessing that the power purchase agreement probably is the easiest one to deal with because it's most straightforward. You're going to have to pay.
Yeah. So the ones that I've seen is you start at a base price per kilowatt hour, and every year it usually increases by, I've seen it about 2.9%, and you're basically just paying for the production. So in winter months, usually your bill's going to be a little less. In summer months, it's going to be a little more because there's more production, obviously, in the summer. And if you exceed that amount, you hop back onto the grid.
So here's the question I'm going to throw at you as a buyer. Okay, so I go out and I'm energy conscious, and I look at a property, and I'm looking at a 3,000-foot house, and it's got, I don't know, say 25 panels on there. Because the family that's moving out, it's the nuclear family, mother, father, a couple kids. They might even have that Tesla in the garage.
Yep.
Pool in the backyard.
All right.
And they're using, what they need. My wife and I move in, and we think that we're going to get a $300 a month benefit, but we were only using $200 a month, and we don't really see that benefit. Now, do you get those people coming back at you saying, hey, something, I didn't get the benefit I thought I was going to get?
So we've had one recent situation, without getting too detailed, where the buyer got the power purchase agreement. It's a solar city, so Tesla got the power purchase agreement, had all the information there, but it produced way too much power for what she's using. I mean, by thousands of kilowatt hours. I don't know what the price point is exactly, but it comes out to a couple $1,000s a year more than if she was just on the grid from the beginning. But there's no context for it, right? You just see what it produces per year.
Sure.
So really the key is that the buyer, if they have any questions whatsoever, contact the solar company and get some more information on it. I mean, as you said at one point, like, real estate agents are not solar panel agreement experts. It's not, it's outside of our scope.
Sure.
But our advice can be, go ahead and call the solar company and dig in, do your due diligence, and figure out if it's worth it for you.
Is there a standard form for that nowadays? That basically letting you know that there's solar and that you should be doing due diligence?
So there's advisories. There is a solar panel disclosure that just came out in December.
Okay.
CAR brought it out. What we're finding in practice is that most sellers don't know the answers to the questions. So it's not as effective as we would like it to be, because again, they're not experts either, and they don't always know every detail of the product. If they own it outright, that's kind of the easiest question to answer. But the lease and the power purchase, not all of them understood exactly what that meant when they entered into the agreement. So there is a disclosure, but we're not seeing it right now. In the first 4 months, it's been available as effective as maybe California Association of Realtors would like it to be, because it's just, they don't know all the answers to those questions.
Well, as a consumer advocate, just from a 30,000 foot level, we've all played telephone, right? So if the seller listened to the sales pitch and made a purchase based on that, probably not in the last 6 months, because they wouldn't have done that right when they bought getting ready to sell the house, right? So it's probably 6 or more months ago. They're relaying their understanding to the agent that they hire to sell the property, who's then going to relay their understanding to the buyer's agent, who's going to then relay their understanding to the buyer.
Yep.
And it's not going to look anything like the original conversation.
Yeah, most likely. That's why it's call the solar company, get all your questions answered.
Yeah. So in my world, it would be, yes, there is solar, and here's the contact information.
Yep. And here's the document. Here's the agreement, first of all.
Right.
And then here's the contact information on the first page.
Yeah. And that to me, that makes a whole lot more sense, because even if I got the agreement, I mean, you have an advantage. You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
It was written by a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
Right. So,
and again, you don't have any context as a buyer. Okay, well, that 15,000 kilowatt hours it's going to produce, is that good? Is that bad? Is that
I don't even know. I have no idea how much my house uses right now.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I get the bill, I pay the bill. I know how much dollars it is. I don't know kilowatt hours, right? I mean,
exactly.
I have to write a check for it, or put it on the payment program, or whatever, the whole thing.
Right.
But that's the way it works. So,
right. It's tough. So it has created some issues where somebody gets in and is using nowhere close to the amount of power that's being produced, and they feel like they weren't given all the accurate information,
which is kind of challenging, because that the issue is you have to realize everybody's unique.
Right.
I mean, I'm not buying a 4-bedroom house for the same reason. Just looking at us, I don't know. You look like you're a bit younger than me. So if I buy a 4-bedroom house and you buy a 4-bedroom house, it's probably for different reasons.
Sure.
Right. I might be buying this so my grandkids have a place to come. Do you have grandkids?
No.
See, there you go.
2 kids. No
so
grandkids.
so see, I mean, that's my point.
Yeah.
So the usage of the solar is completely different.
100%.
One of the things, I don't like the contracts and all that other stuff. I like, stories. Any exciting ones that you come to mind?
Well, one of them was the one I just shared. We've also had situations where the seller has a leased solar,
okay,
and is saying, "Hey, I paid it off. I paid it off, buyer, no problem. It's paid off, only to find out that what they did was they prepaid the lease payment. They didn't buy the unit. So there's some confusion there as to what a payoff means, right? Because a lot of these contracts allow you to prepay when you're selling your home. You can prepay partially or all the remaining payments, usually at a little bit of a discount, but you're not buying the unit. You're not buying the system. So there's been sellers of ours that have said, oh yeah, it's paid off, but really they've just prepaid the lease. They don't own the system.
So they paid off the lease. They haven't paid the residual value or whatever,
Correct.
whatever the balloon.
Yeah.
And I don't have it, so I don't know whether it's a balloon payment or residual value, or they just come and take it out.
Yeah. So if most of them will just allow you to pay the appraised value of the system at the time you're paying it off, and they'll go and they'll get it appraised for you.
Okay. They'll go and get it appraised for
system.
you.
Yeah.
That's a whole big issue, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what's the value now? And usually you can't, typically what I've seen is you can't pay it off at any time. You can pay it off at predetermined times or when you're selling the house, which is why it comes up so much in our transactions. It is one of those trigger points where you could pay off or pay off the unit, prepay, et cetera. So it's just, again, it's the seller not fully understanding the process and then relaying that information, as you said, via, this game of telephone. And all of a sudden the buyer says, hey, I'm not getting what I thought I was getting.
So what happens at that point? We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Reasons to consider condos in your home search and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at RonIsMyLender.com. That's RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Get ready for that home purchase. You can see what your credit score is. You can check your budgeting. You can check your banking. You can check in your down payment. And oh yeah, 97% of the homes in America are on there for looking at what's available to purchase, not just locally, nationwide. rsrmoney.com. Oh, did I say it was free? Doesn't cost you a thing. Reasons to consider condos in your home search. Are you having trouble finding a home that fits your needs and your budget? If so, you should know there's an option worth considering. Condominiums, also known as condos, according to Bankrate, quote, a condo can be more affordable entry point to home ownership than a single family home. And as a homeowner, you'll build equity over time and have access to tax benefits that a renter would not, unquote. That's why expanding your search to include additional housing types like condominiums could help you accomplish your homeownership goals this spring, especially if you can be flexible about the space you need. Condos are typically smaller than a single family home, but that's part of what can make them more budget friendly. And if you are watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you see a chart of condo prices versus single family as of February 2023. This is median price. So when you look at median, that does not mean a whole heck of a lot. The late Essia Debe at Chapman University said, why do we use median numbers? I asked him that question. He said, Ron, it's a lousy number, but it's consistent. So that's why they do it. Single family home, $367,500 on the median prices nationwide. Condos, $321,000. In addition to providing more options in your home search and possibly your price point, there are several other benefits to condo living. They tend to require less upkeep and lower maintenance, and that can give you more time to spend doing things you enjoy. Plus, since many condos are in or near city centers, they offer the added benefit of being close proximity to work and leisure. Remember, your first home does not have to be your forever home. The important thing is to get your foot in the door as a homeowner so you can start building wealth in the form of home equity. In time, the equity you develop can fuel a future purchase if your needs change. Ultimately, owning and living in a condo can be a lifestyle choice. And if that appeals to you, they could provide the added options you need in today's market. Bottom line, it could make a lot of sense to add condos to your home search. Give us a call at 800-306-1990. If you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, we'd love to have the opportunity to chat with them. And remember, rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great place to go to start that home search, or, even if you're 12, 18 months out, rsrmoney.com has the solutions for you. Continue our conversation. We're chatting with Michael Hickman, Seven Gables Real Estate. So let's, I want to transition a little bit with Michael to the education standpoint. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the questions that I would want to do as a home buyer or seller if I'm interviewing a realtor? What do I need to talk to them about so that they can either represent me properly or on either side of this? Is there a methodology that I can go to? Is there something that you're recommending beyond, I know we talked about just get the name and contact information.
Yeah.
Is there anything more that a real estate agent can really be doing at that point?
Well, I think, on the list side, again, it's just like all of our other, I'm going to call them seller documents, anything that the seller is going to have to provide to the buyer, get all that done up front. Don't wait until you're under contract with the buyer to start trying to gather documents. Because typically once we're in escrow, if we have a friction point, it's a little bit more difficult to resolve. Right?
There's not anybody to do any homework and be prepared.
Right. And then we get this statement all the time from buyers. Well, I just don't trust that seller anymore. I mean, they should have told me that up front. And it creates a little bit of lack of trust, which is hard to regain sometimes under contract, right? Sure. And it's always easier to resolve it up front. Just like if a problem does come up, it's easier to resolve it during escrow than post-closing, of course, as well. So like the transaction I was telling you, as far as thinking they paid off the unit, but they really only prepaid the lease, it was discovered during escrow, and the seller ended up just giving a credit. They negotiated a little bit and gave a credit to the buyer at closing. So it's easier to resolve. But doing all of your work up front and even providing those documents, I mean, we at our company recommend just even having them in the supplement section of the MLS so that a buyer can, or their agent, via their agent, can take a look even before writing an offer.
Makes a lot of sense. So with when you're counseling the agents, is there like a checklist that they go through and say, okay, is there a pool? Oh yeah, that's an easy one. Right? Is there an air conditioner? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Is there solar? Because, I wouldn't even know. I mean, I'm not going to, I'm a little oversized, maybe a lot oversized. I'm not getting on Google Earth to go and look on the roof and see if there's panels.
Right. We don't have a broker checklist, if that's the question. A lot of our agents have created their own pre-listing checklist, though, where they go through and they'll ask all those questions. Yeah.
And that way they can then put it in. But that as a consumer, then I know that if I'm sitting at a table, and it doesn't matter if it's at my house, a conference room, at your office, wherever, and I see an agent with a checklist, to me, it just says professional.
Yeah. They know their stuff. That yeah, absolutely. Same thing on the buy side. When that buyer's agent is doing that full consultation with you or interview, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing on the buy side. Sure.
And so if you're a consumer out there, those are just telltale signs, right? The professional is prepared. Why do they prepare? Because they don't know it? No, it's because they don't miss anything that way.
Right.
Right. I might know that I need every one of these documents when leading a lending team. I know every document that I need, but if I have a list, it just says there's less likelihood of me making a mistake.
Right. Right.
Right. And the agent has the same thing. If they've got on their listing when they've gone through and you say, okay, yeah, I'm signing the contract, and I don't know how to do this because yes, I do have a real estate license, full disclosure, but I'm not qualified to use it, like most people. Right. But if they've you've made that determination to work together. If they come out and they pull out this checklist, it doesn't say that they don't know what they're doing. It says that they are prepared.
They're thorough. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're going through and saying, okay, solar, no, pool, yes, electricity.
Yeah.
The one that I just saw the other day, does it have a tankless water heater or a traditional water heater?
Yep. We've had issues with water softeners because some of those are leased.
Sure.
All that sort of stuff. So yeah.
So it tells you now, if you don't have that, that might be the one that's your dog walker's best friend's mother who did one transaction in some decade.
Yeah.
Right. And they might not be the best solution for you.
Right. Yeah. We do have a program that we call SG Certified with Seven Gables, where as part of our listing protocol, it's do your inspections up front, get your termite done, get all of your disclosures done, get the solar documents done. So we do have we call it a program called SG Certified, but it's not a item by item checklist. That's usually down at the agent level, but we do have something that we promote like that.
And it's to me, that's part of training.
Right.
Right. And I'm a big believer that realtors should be forced by the regulators. And I'm not a big fan of regulators at all, but they should have a mentoring program, right? Go through. I mean, you're allowed to do this. I can't, right? Even though I have a real estate license, I can't go and give people legal advice on contracts,
right?
Except in a real estate contract, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars,
and 16 pages, right? Right.
I mean, something is a little odd there to me that, in something that big. I mean, if I want to write a contract to sell my car, it's like a one-page document, right? And I'm selling, you're buying. Here's the money. Here's the mileage. See you later.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't give legal advice on that document, but as a realtor, I can give legal advice on it.
Right. After passing an exam with a D+.
Yeah, exactly. And in the exam, full disclosure, there's not a darn thing on that exam that you can ever use again in your life.
Right. Yep.
Right. So the bottom line is you want to make sure so that SG certified means a lot then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of our agents do use it. Not everybody does, of course, but a lot of our agents use it, and they use it as a competitive advantage. They're saying this is everything we're going to do for you up front.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, in Northern California, it's done much more regularly than down here in Southern California, where everything is done up front, and they require you to take a look at all the documents before you even submit your offer, so that you're going in with eyes wide open. One of the things it does help us with is oftentimes we're not seeing prices renegotiated in an escrow, whether credits for repairs or whatever it may be, because they had everything when they wrote their offer.
That makes so much more sense. The only thing that I see different there is one of the comments that you made. And I don't know enough about these things, but if you're having a termite inspection done, I don't know who's paying for that. So if the property doesn't sell, you might be out a little bit more money, but it should, it's part of doing business.
Yeah, it is.
Photos you don't get reimbursed for either.
Right. And sometimes our agents pay for it. Sometimes the seller will pay for it because they can show the value. And termite inspections are either free or very inexpensive anyways. Most of the stuff that we include in that program is stuff that you have to do anyways at some point during the transaction. We're just kind of doing it up front. So.
Which makes a lot of sense. And if you've been watching Ron Siegel Radio for any length of time, we've had John and Melissa Hammond come on here from Hammond Inspections, and they actually do a certified pre-owned home inspection, right? So that's part of the package as well. So you can say, okay, this is what there was. Now here's the receipts for the things that we fixed.
Yep.
And it just makes, I think makes for a cleaner process.
Yeah, I think it does. A lot of our agents will say the same thing. And then you can go and knock out some of the little things that always come up in inspections, right? The water heater bracing, things like that come up almost every time. You just knock out a little punch list. You don't have to spend a tremendous amount of money, but you just less friction when you get to that process in the transaction.
So when your lender comes in to do the appraisal, you don't have the double strapping on the water heater. You're not missing your carbon monoxide and your smoke detectors.
Exactly.
And you don't have to pay the extra $150 for a reinspection.
Right. Exactly.
Great stuff. I appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit with us. If you have more questions, want to talk to any of our friends over at Seven Gables, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Be happy to put you in touch with them. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.